Welcome to Crushgasm, the podcast dedicated to the highs and lows of crushes. From their first to their worst, we're going to cover them all with a cascade of characters, including our guest today, a very beautiful soul, Dana B. Myers, a wife, mother of two, author of the Mojo series, and founder of Booty Parlor, who is here to talk not only about Booty Parlor's pheromone-infused perfumes, aka the perfect gift for Valentine's Day, but also her celebrity crush on someone who comes with one hell of a story, James Purefoy. Dana, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thank you for that excellent intro.
Of course.
So I'm very happy to be here.
Have you always been the type to have like celebrity crushes growing up?
100,000 million %. Yes. John Bon Jovi, Sebastian Bach, Axl Rose. Oh God. I mean, all of them, all of the glam band guys from, the late 80s and early 90s. And then, it was always a rock and roller. It was always a musician for me.
For you, like what takes somebody like a celebrity from being like someone who's just like attractive to having a crush on them? Because like for me, I think Paul Rudd is handsome. There's no denying that, but it's not like I'm obsessed with him. He's not my crush. So what's that for you?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's an energy, right? It's like somewhat, and I think specifically it's somewhat of a tortured bad boy kind of a vibe. That's, I think, like a common thread through my crushes. Or if they had long hair, like John Bon Jovi.
Hair plays a very big role in my crushes as well. All my crushes when I was younger leaned blonde because of Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys.
Oh my God. Yes, of course. Okay. All right.
Totally get it. Hair, long hair too. I was a sucker for long hair for a very, very long time.
Yeah. I think, it probably also had to do whether it was a musician or now that I'm really thinking through it, there were certainly some actors, of course. It probably had a lot to do with their stage persona or the part that they were playing. Like I remember the film, of course, it was about the Lost Boys, right? About the vampires with Jason Patrick and Kiefer Sutherland. And it was like, oh, they're like sexy vampires. And what is, I think it's that sort of forbidden bad boy, edgy kind of a vibe. That's really, I think that's a commonality between my crushes. So
the bad boy, I guess maybe, I don't know, because your celebrity crush we're here to talk about today is James Purefoy, like we said, yeah. And it started back in 2005. Now, that was a year I went off to college, so I didn't have premium cable. It was the first year I had actual internet. I didn't grow up with the internet, so everything was really new to me. So this was a show I definitely hadn't heard of until we started chatting.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, see, I'm almost 46, so my crushes are like a different generation than yours, I think.
Like, was this like the typical type of show that you tune into, or were you just like switching through the channels one day, saw a hot guy and thought, well, let me stop there?
So my husband and I love HBO. We love Sopranos. We love those kind of long saga shows. I've always loved historical series, and Rome. I mean, everyone who's listening, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. Rome had everything for me. It was historical. It was sexy. I mean, this was such a sexy show. There was so much sex in this. There was so much sensuality and nudity and excitement. And I'm not really into gore or horror, but even and I'm not into violence either, but even the violence in this show, they kind of made it sexy. So it was all very exciting and sexy, and the bodies and a lot of nudity and a lot of drama, which apparently is also sexy to me.
Now, James played Mark Anthony, and for those listening who haven't connected the dots of Dana saying it's historical and it's called Rome, it was Mark Anthony, the historical figure, and not J-Lo's like husband, baby daddy. So it's right. just in case people are a little confused. So was he like a bad boy on the show? Is that why you were like, this is my man right here, right now?
Yes, he was a bad boy on the show. Also, the passion and chemistry and electricity that existed between him and Cleopatra, that was also a big point of interest for me. Their sexuality, their lust for each other. And there were other women in the show who also lusted after him, which I think I probably also found very hot. You know, this man who's desired by these women and has this incredible chemistry and love with Cleopatra. And it's like Cleopatra is like the ultimate queen goddess. So if she was hot for this Mark Antony, you know, I would be hot for him too. Because I really, you know, Cleopatra has such a mystique to her. So I think for me, this is interesting because as I'm talking through it, I think it's also this fantasy, right? It's so much of a crush is fantasy, but it's the fantasy of what was the love like really between Mark Antony and Cleopatra? What was that like? How did it feel? Like, you know, all the things, all the senses, you know, back then. What did things smell like, taste like, look like? It's such a different time. And yet that chemistry, that passion was there. And so that was a big allure for me too. I think that very much drew me into to that crush.
You have to think about the smells. There had to be a passion there because they weren't rocking with like the type of things we have now to cover up our odors. So there had to be some love there.
There had to be some funk. There had to be some real funk. I think, you know, this is something selling perfumes as we do with Booty Parlor. We do think about, okay, well, what was the genesis of why people wore perfumes, right? Perfumes people used to wear to cover up their insane body odor when there wasn't running water and showers and soaps easily readily available. And so, you know, back then, I'm sure there was a major funk for Mark and Cleopatra, but Roman times, they did have their Roman baths. And so that was another thing that I found very sensual about the show is that you always saw people bathing and, you know, rose petals and oils being poured in their baths. So very, very sensual show, kind of all the way from A to Z.
I was going to say, was the crush in part to the frontal nudity as well that Rome had going on? Because like,
yes.
Once I saw like this show was on HBO, we all know HBO is not shy about nudity. I was like, I wonder what's gonna, you know, so I looked it up on YouTube. First clip, there was James Purefoy's manhood. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
Manhood. That was, yes. And you know, thank you for bringing that up because so often, you know, thank you HBO as well. You know, so often we are used to seeing women, right, being naked and female bodies, which is all great, but rarely are we, you know, sort of treated to seeing the full Monty of a male body. And so down with the patriarchy, I want to see more. But yes, I found him and his nudity and his, you know, manhood swinging in the breeze. I found that to be quite a nice treat. Yeah, I'll take that. Sure.
A little cherry on top to all the other great attributes of the show.
Yes, definitely. And James, if you're listening, I'm sorry if it feels like I'm objectifying you. That's not my intent.
It's admiring.
I'm admiring, not objectifying. That's right.
So again, this was like back in 2005. YouTube had just gone up. MySpace was like kind of the only social media. So I feel it was like kind of harder to get all the details about a celebrity back then. With that, did you just like obsessively watch the show or did you do a little like early Googling about him to find out all that you could?
So I actually I do not recall Googling him at all back in the day. I just remember being very excited every Sunday when 10 o'clock rolled around.
Fair, because again, we didn't have the connection we do to celebrities. We couldn't go on their Instagram and try to slide into those DMs.
Yeah, totally.
So like you said your husband is British. When did you find out James Purefoy also English?
Oh, I think I must have assumed it, you know, as soon as I started watching the show. I think everyone on that show spoke with a British accent.
Oh,
I think that's like the default accent for when you have a historical show. It's, you know, just make them British, not German or Italian, Roman. So yeah, I knew he was British right away. I guess I have a thing for British men.
Long hair and British.
Or short hair and British.
Yeah. Was your husband kind of like okay with the crush then because he was like, English as well? You're like, all right.
So, listen, my husband and I have been in the sexual wellness business for over 15 years. So he knows who he married. He knows he married, a vivacious, sensual woman who has desires. And so it's not, my little celebrity crushes were never news to him.
Have you been keeping tabs on James Purefoy's career since Rome? Because when you said over your choice, I was like, I didn't know the name, but when I saw the face and I was like, oh, okay, because I watched The Following and I just, he was in Sex Education, which he was a DILF in that show. 2 great shows. Check them out.
I haven't followed him. It was like Rome or nothing. I haven't really followed his other shows. I've seen him occasionally. Oh, I just recently saw him. Ooh, yes. Now that you're bringing it up, sister, hold on a second. I saw him in A Discovery of Witches.
Oh.
And he was just as sexy. But all of his other shows I haven't really invested in. But, now that we're talking about it, I think I'm going to.
The Following, great. He plays like this, what is it, like a professor that's like low-key serial killer, and him and Kevin Bacon's trying to figure him out. And what I loved about the show is like they had this like bromance of sorts. I don't think they were supposed to, but me and my old roommate, that's how we watched the show. We're like, oh, they're so cute together. Like this cat and mouse game of them. And then Sex Education, definitely check that out. He's not in it a lot, but
how could I miss that one? Like considering what I do for a living, that's kind of a no-brainer. So point taken. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now it's time to get to the story you have with James Purefoy, because you actually wrote about this in Mommy Mojo Makeover. You noted how you had just had your baby 3 months prior, needed a night out. So I'm just going to let you continue the story from there since you lived it.
Yeah. So this was my second child that I'd had. And, I found that having your second child, it took me a little bit longer to figure out what do I look like now? How do I feel? Do I still feel sexy? You got the toddler, you got the baby, you're up again, having had some normalcy in your life. But I was also really committed to getting back out there and having fun with my husband. So I booked this double date with some friends. It was actually an amazing childhood friend named Carly. Hi, Carly, if you're listening. And so I felt really bloated and my boobs were different sizes. Now, if you've had a baby, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Sometimes your boobs, the right one is twice the size as the left one. And it really makes you feel weird. It really messes with your head. So I was standing in the mirror and, sliding into that negative body banter that we can do as women, oh my God, my breasts, they're different sizes. I feel bloated, this and that. And then I said, you know what? No, I'm done talking crap about myself. I'm going to pull this together. We're going to have a great night. I picked an outfit that looked amazing and I did my makeup and I fluffed up my hair and I connected with myself in the mirror. And I was like, you know what? You are a sexy bitch. I see you, you're in there, whether or not your boobs are 2 different sizes or not, let's go have some fun. So we go out, we see a great show in Brooklyn, and we go to this restaurant after, and we're sitting down and having wine, and it's really fun. And me and my husband are sitting next to each other at a little 4-top picnic table. We're sitting next to each other. My friends are sitting across from us. And then at the table behind my friends, he sat down and I literally let out an audible gasp because there he was in his leather jacket and Ray-Bans. It was nighttime, but he's James Purefoy, so he had on his Ray-Bans at night. These character lines in his face, gorgeous, sexy, bad boy, there he is. So I gasp, I look at Charlie, he looks at me, he sees that I'm aghast. I'm freaking out. And then I'm my heart is all, Twitter-pated, if that's a word. And so then what happens next is that he started flirting with me. Now, I'm not making this up because it was one of the best experiences I've had with a crush. He saw me, he locked into me, he was onto me, he was desiring me. even my lopsided boobs, all my lopsided boobs and everything. And like, he obviously knew I was sitting right next to my husband, but that didn't stop him from starting to like shamelessly flirt with me. And I'm pretty sure he was sitting next to his wife, but I couldn't help myself. And I just sort of like flirted back with him. Now, mind you, we weren't talking or anything. So this was all eye gaze, right? It was all eye gaze, all energy. And I just immediately lit up and my whole, being came alive. And I felt extremely excited. And, my poor husband was like sitting there watching me blush and freak out. But it was really an exciting moment because this crush, this sexy Rome, Mark Antony, full frontal nudity on HBO, hunk of a celebrity, was like locking eyes with me and flirting with me, which of course gave me the biggest ego boost, because just a few hours earlier, I'd been not really feeling very sexy. I'd been feeling so funky in this postpartum body. And so really for me, what that experience did, like the apex moment of that crush experience, was it like validated or it acknowledged me that I was still a sexy, vital woman who someone else desired. Of course, I knew my husband still desired me, but, to have someone that I'd crushed on really desire me out of nowhere was very validating, and it was a big ego boost. And, you'll always hear me talk about how self-worth and self-love is an inside job, and how as women, we need to move away from seeking external validation. And yet there's something very beautiful about receiving positive attention from someone that you desire. For me, it's someone from the opposite sex. And so that was a really good moment for me. One that obviously made it into my book, and one that I'll never really forget.
Well, it's a good lesson to all moms listening, that even like after you have the baby, you're still a beautiful woman. You didn't lose any of that.
Totally.
Still there, even with the lopsided.
It might be a little bit lopsided.
Which I didn't know that was a thing. I think a mom went viral on TikTok recently with her video, and I saw it and I was like, what? What is that?
Oh, yes, I saw that. Yeah, that's real. There's all these like realities that no one really tells you about before you have a child, or really even while you're pregnant. Here's my public service announcement to every woman out there listening who might be considering having a child. Your breasts may become lopsided, and that's okay. It won't last forever.
They'll even out.
They'll even out someday. Yeah.
So that night, if your husband had been like, hey, Dana, use that celebrity hall pass, and James' wife was okay with it, would you have left together?
Oh my God. I mean, in my fantasy land, sure. I mean, maybe. My husband, we used to do a lot of celebrity events. And at one of our celebrity events, Cameron Diaz and Justin Timberlake came into our space for Booty Parlor. And I was super psyched because that was when they were together. It was amazing. And Cameron Diaz was super like flirting with my husband, Charlie. She was super into him and his British accent and his cute face. And, had she said, hey, let's get out of here, I definitely would have given him the hall pass. So I would like to think that had Charlie given me the hall pass, I would have taken it.
That's a good partnership.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So on the Booty Parlor site, you answer questions, and one was about fantasizing about others during sex with your partner. And you said there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally normal. And since I thought your answer fit in so well with this crush conversation, I wanted to know, has James been the star of your fantasies ever?
Well, maybe once or twice.
I also want to know, we're going to talk more about the pheromone-infused perfumes later, but what do you think, like, Mark Antony, James Purefoy's character in Rome, what would his scents have been like?
Oh, what did he smell like?
Like, what would you have prescribed him as a perfect scent?
Oh God. I'm going to say something a little earthy and sensual and spicy, like sandalwood and some warm amber, and maybe a hint of orange blossom, just a little bit of citrus on him.
Smells wonderful in my
head. Yeah.
So back to that night of flirtation. Say you guys were both single, but it had played out the same. Only you guys got to talking. And then it all worked out perfectly. How do you think your lives would be together today?
Oh my God, I've never ever thought about that. I have no idea. I don't have a good answer for you on that one. Yeah, honestly, I don't know the first thing about that man. I don't know the first thing about him. I only think of him as Mark Antony in the show. So how would it have been for me to be with Mark Antony? It probably would have ended badly. He would have had to go to war. he would have, killed. How did he die? Did they kill themselves? They killed themselves, I think. It would have ended really badly, I think. So, not a scenario I want.
Tragically. So we'll stick with
tragically.
Charlie.
Yeah, tragically. Yeah, we'll stay with Charlie for sure. For sure.
Okay, so now it's time to step away from the fantasies and the tragedies and the crushes and move on to all you've got going on. So you started writing your Mojo series some time ago, a series that I have to say has been praised by many, even a 90s crush that many had, like Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
But I want to know what initially inspired you to help people better themselves.
Great question. So I grew up with a makeup artist mother. And when I was a little girl, I would tag along with her to the beauty shop where she had her little makeup studio. And I would just watch her transform women and talk with them and give them a confidence boost with conversation and lip gloss and instruction on how to bring out their own inner and outer beauty. And that forevermore was just my passion. That was it. I just wanted women to feel good about themselves. And that was really the education that I had in female empowerment, was watching my mom. So as I grew, I had a great career in the music business, but my passion was always helping women. And also I just loved all things sexy and found that sexual pleasure was a very important part of who I was. I always knew that as a young woman, and my parents talked to me openly about it. So I had this real sense of sensual empowerment and a love of beauty and female empowerment. And so all those things kind of aligned for me to create Booty Parlor. Once I had met Charlie, we were dating and we shared this idea to create this brand for women to help them feel sexy and satisfied and confident in their own skin, and also have fun shopping for these kinds of products that would help them feel sexy. So we started the brand in 2005, and we've been going ever since.
The same year your crush of James started.
Yes, the same year my crush with James began. That's right.
Kismet.
That's
so
right.
You, like you said, you like all things sexy, and you focus a lot on that and regaining it, retaining it, and it has to do with confidence. But I want to know, is your confidence all natural, or do you even have to work on maintaining that yourself?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I definitely think that I was born with a sense of innate confidence. Everyone's emotional, psychological makeup is different. So I do think that I was kind of born with a confident disposition, but nature versus nurture, or really nature and nurture. My parents really instilled confidence in me with a lot of positive feedback by helping me set goals and then meet them. That's really the basis of building confidence, right? You set a goal, you want to do something or try something, you break it down into the steps. You do those steps, you meet your goal, you feel good about yourself. You've shown yourself that you can accomplish something that you want. So I built a lot of confidence through that. I always had confidence in my energy as a woman. I didn't always have confidence in my looks. I was certainly a bit of an awkward teenager. I wasn't really built like the other girls. I wasn't thin. I didn't have straight hair, which was, the hair that you wanted at the time. And so I had to kind of look at myself and find my confidence in my beauty really through the lens of inner beauty, absolutely. Uniqueness. I would really focus on, okay, well, what's unique about me? And uniqueness is beautiful. So I would focus on my uniqueness and also on my sexuality and on the ability to experience pleasure in a way that a lot of my friends didn't know how to. So I almost felt like I had like cracked the code to this amazing secret of experiencing pleasure as a woman. And so I would share that with all my friends, and that gave me confidence too, that my friends wanted to come to me to get insight and answers on how that they could feel pleasure too. So I really always focused on building my confidence through different avenues. But I'm human. I'm very human. I'll tell you that I'm very human. And I, of course, have dips in my confidence or see areas where I am more insecure. And so for me, it's just a constant work in progress and something that I treat with a lot of compassion and self-love.
And you spoke about uniqueness. And I think Booty Parlor is very unique because you call it a beauty parlor for your love life. And I think that's like very one of a kind. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Yeah. You said that started back in 2005, and you were inspired by your mom. But like, when did you start to like spin the wheels on it and be like, all right, let's take this from a dream to a reality?
Yeah. So we started building that brand. We started building the brand in 2004 and launched it in 2005. And really, I was just sick and tired of going to all the gross XXX stores to buy my own vibrators and get my friends their vibrators, because I was that girl. I was like, if you don't have a vibrator, you need a vibrator. Like, I'm going to be the one to get it for you.
Great friend.
Thank you. But the experience back then, today we're in a very different age where sexual wellness is a huge business and women have so much wonderful choice. But back then we didn't. And I just thought, wow, like, why doesn't this exist? And so when I brought the idea up to Charlie, he said, oh, well, it exists in England, and I've actually thought about doing this in America. So why don't we do it together? And from that night on, the wheels were in motion, and we built the business plan and built the products and left our jobs and launched the brand. And we've been working together ever since, which is a long time. It's very interesting.
This is why we're keeping Charlie around.
Oh yeah. And so many other reasons.
Can you tell us more about these pheromone-infused perfumes you have available for Valentine's Day?
Yes. It's so exciting. We've actually just launched 2 brand new perfumes called Unforgettable Amore. And the second one that we've just launched in time for Valentine's Day is called Unforgettable Amore La Nuit. So it's the nighttime version. It's all about sex and seduction, and really that experience of feeling so desirable that the object of your attention just can't help but come to you and give you the best sex of your whole life. So that's the picture we're painting. These perfumes, as well as our Flirty Little Secret perfume oil and firming cream and firming bronzer, they're all infused with pheromones. And we use pheromones really to help women boost their allure and their confidence and help them magnetize what they want in their lives, which very specifically for Booty Parlor, we are talking about attracting a lover. That's what we're talking about. We're attracting a lover. We're attracting the love of our lives. We're attracting our boyfriends and husbands and partners. And so by nature, in human biology, we all have natural pheromones, right? These are chemicals that the body emits that send signals to others that can affect the other's behavior, and specifically their sexual behavior. Now, we don't use human pheromones in our perfumes. We work with our laboratories to create synthetic pheromones that are specifically designed to attract the opposite sex. And I gotta tell you, we've been working with pheromones for over 10 years now. And time again, our customers write us and let us know that they're working. And every time I see a testimonial where a woman's like, oh my God, I'm getting asked out more, I feel more confident, or my husband is sniffing around, he's showing me interest again when he was kind of ignoring me for a while. It's the experience of putting on perfume, of believing in your femininity and your sensuality, and harnessing this kind of invisible technology of pheromones that really works for our customers. And it's very exciting to see. So if you're looking to attract a lover this Valentine's Day, or, just pique the interest, reinvigorate the interest of your long-term partner, try a perfume with pheromones because they really work. And not only will you smell amazing, all of our fragrances have really incredible combinations, all of which you can read on our site and kind of determine, am I more of a sweet perfume persona, in which case I'd recommend the Unforgettable Amore La Nuit. Or if you want something that's a little more fruity and earthy, then I would suggest our classic Unforgettable Amore Eau de Parfum. If you want something that's a little bit more like, how would I describe this? Like notes of plums and jasmine and cedar and sandalwood, I would go with our classic Flirty Little Secret perfume oil. All of them have pheromones. You can just kind of read about them and see which scent profile speaks to you uniquely as a woman. And then roll it on, honey, and watch all the men in your life want to give you more positive attention.
Now, these sound perfect for Valentine's and all year round, because who doesn't want to have the greatest sex of their life all year? But since we're talking about Valentine's Day, before we wrap up, I want to play a quick speed round little game with you focused on what is the most romantic day of the year. So here we go.
Okay.
These are all personal to you, or no, general to general. What do you think is the most romantic meal?
Okay. This is this is my personal answer. I would say my husband's roast chicken and roast potatoes.
And speaking in a general sense, what do you think is the worst date idea?
Taking a woman to do anything that she has expressed zero interest in. Like if you really love fishing, but she hates it, don't take her fishing. Really find out what she wants and do that.
Thank you. Yes, nobody wants to go fishing unless they clearly have that in their dating profile.
Exactly.
So what do you think is the sexiest song?
Oh my gosh. There's a song I've been listening to on Spotify. Okay. It's a playlist called Songs to Make Out To. And just look up the playlist Songs to Make Out To on Spotify from Raditya. And it's all those songs.
All of them.
All of
what
them.
is
All of them.
the best Valentine's Day candy?
Ooh, I'm going to say Red Hots.
A double innuendo there.
Yeah, a little spicy.
And lastly, the best Valentine's Day gift.
For me, it's always going to be flowers. I love to keep flowers next to my bed. They're a symbol of beauty, of softness, of femininity. And to me, it's a simple gift that means a lot.
And also pheromone-infused perfumes from Booty Parlor.
Oh my God. Duh! Yes, the best Valentine's Day gift, of course, is our Unforgettable Amore La Nuit Eau de Parfum with pheromones.
So, Dana, can you tell people where they can find you online and these wonderful perfumes?
Yes, you can find us at bootyparlor.com. And if you shop with us as a Crushgasm listener, we'll give you 15% off your first purchase if you use the code Crushgasm. So get over there and shop and get a discount.
And order those and send them to those you love.
Yes, send them to those you love. They're also a great Valentine's Day gift too for your girlfriends who might be looking for love.
Got a lot of those.
Yeah.
So, Dana, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about your celebrity crush today. And everyone, you can find all of Booty Parlor's information below. And until next time, keep crushing it.